The one and only case, a UFO crashed with an abducted person on board. The alien abduction Los Angeles resident from her home and took her to a massive mothership where they changed her clothes and performed various experiments on her. And when they decided to bring her back home, something happened and their craft crashed over, near a military base. There are many incidents of UFOs that have crashed around the world, and among the wreckage they have found strange dead bodies and sometimes live crew members. There are also a huge number of stories about how extraterrestrials abducted people and performed strange and painful medical experiments. Could an alien craft crash while the abductees are inside it? Although this happened far less often than normal UFO accidents, in the history of ufology, only one such case is known. It was the summer, an evening of 1971, when California resident Debbie Clayton was getting ready for bed. Her home is not far from Edwards Air Force Base, so Debbie was already used to military aircraft regularly flying over her home and the noise that they make. However, the terrible noise she heard that night was completely different. It sounded like a big explosion or loud thunder, and she heard the dogs around her house barking loudly. She went outside to see what was happening and saw a trail of smoke in the sky leading to something that had fallen to the ground, as if it had caught fire. Debbie thought that there had been a plane crash and did not want to go near it, lest she see the victim bodies of the people. But something strange piqued her curiosity there, and she decided to go see what it was. And when she arrived at the spot, she saw that the grass had been burned over a large area, and in the center of this burnt area was a large object like a mushroom, as she described it, dull gray metal on which there were flashing green dots. She was very impressed by the fact that the object appeared to be a single piece of metal with no welds, no seams like in an airplane, no windows and no doors. However, this metal object was crumpled and torn in some places, apparently from the heavy impact onto the ground. Then she saw a humanoid standing on this scorched earth next to the object, with grayish skin and small stature, and among them Debbie suddenly saw the body of a man. It was a body of a human. It was a woman dressed in a pink outfit. The woman was alive, completely disfigured, looking around without speaking. Debbie wanted to run to help her, but she couldn't, and suddenly there was a sound of military helicopters flying all over the crash site. At the same time, soldiers appeared from all sides at the scene of the accident, and Debbie and some others who had gone to the scene of the accident were ordered to leave the scene or face dire consequences. Debbie got to see how the military covered the object and how several people had gathered around the bodies of the humanoids. She did not get to see what happened to the woman. The next morning, Debbie anxiously awaited the local paper in the area, hoping to find some mention of the incident, but there was nothing. No articles appeared in the following days, even in the nearest districts, about what happened that night. Debbie scrutinized all the local news and TV, but nothing was mentioned. Soon, several people who witnessed the event and saw the UFO, like Debbie, asked the leadership of the military base to tell them why they were hiding this event. In response, they were told that nothing unusual happened in the area, and what they saw was just an accident of a military transport, and there was a small explosion. The alien abduction victim Debbie saw has been found. The woman's name was Lorraine Dvorak Cardini, and she remembered very little about how she was abducted, but she did remember the moment she woke up next to the crashed alien craft and did not understand what was happening. Lorraine reported that the soldiers took her from the field, put her in a military truck, and took her somewhere where they asked her about the incident. All this time she was not feeling well, as if she was under the influence of a drug. Her speech was slurred and her eyes hurt in the bright light. In addition, she was again transferred somewhere in San Francisco, which was quite far from her home, and there they now set her free, apparently after making sure she did not remember anything, and she returned to her home. Shortly thereafter, she began looking for a specialist to undergo hypnosis. This expert was Robert Rosales, and during the hypnosis she began to say that one night she was abducted by strange creatures from her home. Somehow they got her through the walls of her house into their craft. This vessel in turn flew or was transferred to a massive mothership, and there these creatures clothed her in a pink outfit. Lorraine describes the creatures as short and thin in appearance. They were all genderless, and these humanoids had a boss that looked much more human than the aliens were. And she looked like a woman in front. From far away, she would look like an ordinary human Homo sapien of our Earth. She remembered seeing them again in her childhood. These creatures had kidnapped Lorraine again when she was at a very young age. The humanoids communicated telepathically with their master and also did something to Lorraine, but she could not remember even under hypnosis. And then she was again transferred to a small craft to return her home. It was then that the UFO, for some unknown reason, crashed near Edwards Air Force Base. Lorraine said, "I remember being at the crash site completely disoriented, but I saw the military kicking the bodies of the two dead aliens, and I heard a voice inside my head that said they could not come to the scene for fear of being discovered, and they saw how the military mistreated the dead bodies of the aliens," Lorraine said. And this is an amazing story, known thanks to Albert Rosales, who described it in detail in his book. Please leave your comments about this, and thank you for your support. Please support my Patreon account. The daily posts are 5 videos daily, and they are totally different from what I have on my YouTube channel. Thank you so much for your support and that you find all my content so interesting. You'll find the Patreon account details in the description box below.